just talk about the charge sheet, Manjuji, at this point, just how bizarre it was?
No, but all right, I will. But I'm saying the book has
Okay,
three sections. One is the chart sheet, my analysis of the bizarre chart sheet, which alone should have been blasted to
right.
pieces by any intelligent judge. Second is who unleashed this fake narrative? Who were the people who are
Hmm.
unleashing fake narrative and those who became megaphones? I named them all because I tracked them through their writings, their social media posts, their tweets, etc., etc. That was quite an investigative exercise. Third is analysis of the judgment, outrageous, and and analyze it in detail. And fourth, of course, is an update and where the case stands now, and so on. So,
So let's
yeah.
start with the charge sheet because so what I want to understand is, are the basic facts true? Like what is in the public domain, that this girl was raped, that it was a gang rape, and that her body was found in that. So let's start with those basic facts and the charge sheet, and let's go from there, Madhuji.
Firstly, basic facts that are correct. One, that the family alleged, the presumed family, they turned out to be not neither her biological parents nor actually maybe even her relatives. There's a lot of foreground who were the people who claimed to be her parents and have claimed lakhs and crores perhaps of rupees, um, using a dead body, um, and claiming victimhood. So they're not really her parents, and yet they've been treated as victims par
I read
excellence.
somewhere that
Okay.
this gentleman was called his uncle. Muhammad Yunus was there.
Oh, there's so much about a parentage that is under
No.
cloud, and I analyze it. Even a date of birth is not accurate. So she need not be 8 year old. She could be 12 or 13, and there is evidence to point to those indiscrepancies. But most importantly, the only facts that are indisputable: one, that the family alleged that she disappeared. Whether they made her disappear or they knew what was happening to her is to be investigated further, proven further. Secondly, that her dead body was discovered on January 17th, which is a week after she allegedly disappeared, in the backyard of Rasana village, and not far from, not more than 2-3 minutes walk from the temple, and an equal distance from the houses, the 15 odd houses that comprise Rasana hamlet. So this is all that is for
Okay.
sure. That she was murdered is for sure because a dead body with visible signs of torture, but not the torture that is
Hmm.
alleged. Secondly, it is not true that she was gang raped simply because, not because I'm saying it, but because the two postmortem reports do not support the charge of rape. They don't even support the charge of one rape because they very clearly say no sperm found,
Unbelievable.
either on her body or on her clothes. The point is, how can a girl be gang raped and there be
Zero
zero
sperm.
sperm? Secondly, a small girl being gang raped more than once, twice, or thrice, not having any internal injuries is also very
Bizarre. Yeah.
odd. It is bizarre and it shows that they were playing footsie with facts. So there's no evidence that she was gang raped or even raped. At least the postmortem doesn't say so. That she was tortured to death, there is evidence. By who? We don't know. I can only guess at it, and I have hinted at it in my book, but I obviously cannot say it with certainty. But I can say it with certainty that none of the 8 accused have had even an iota of role in either a abduction or a captivity, leave alone her gang rape or murder. They didn't even know who she was, by the way. Most people in the Rasana village had never seen the girl, they didn't know who she was. and we don't even know whether she was the daughter of this family, which lives about 10 minutes walk from the Sana village. But it's so isolated. Her so-called parental home is not part of any village. It's a standalone
So she's
house.
supposed
And
to
I
have
have,
belonged to that nomadic community of Bakarwals or something like that. So,
yes, this is their winter home. And then during summers, they move up all the way up to the
hmm.
valley in search of green pastures for their flock of sheep and horses. That's their business. And it's not a poor family because, horses you sell at phenomenal
True.
prices, especially good breed horses. Similarly, sheep is very expensive, apart from the wool that you sell at fairly good rates. But even when sheep are sold for meat, they fetch a good amount of money. So if you have, say, 200 sheep at any given
You're
point
rich.
in time and 6 horses, I mean, you have a lot of money moving along with you, and it's ready cash, as good as ready cash. So they made it out as a
Poor.
poor Wal family. They have a pakka house on the outskirts of Rasana village and motorbikes. And I mean, they by no means
Hmm.
poor. By contrast, almost all the village families are poor and at best lower middle class. And I have given a profile of each of the families in Rasana
Hmm.
village. And you can see how much poorer
They are.
they are. Most of them are working class. Bus driver, a worker in a Bombay mill or something. Now, so they turned it around
Completely.
as
Yeah.
if, yeah,
How easy it is to build these falsehoods. So Madhuji, if you could run us or walk us through the incidents that took place between the time that this body was found till when it became what it became around, I think, April, like you said. What happened? What did the government, like, how complicit was the government, which is Mehbooba Mufti's government at the time, to bring this case to the kind of the kind of attention that it got nationwide? What happened? What happened in this intervening period of 3 4 months?
it's very clear that Mehbooba Mufti orchestrated this fake narrative with the help of this PDP Hurriyat activist called Talib
Hmm.
Hussain, who, by the way, even before the post-mortem was carried out, he started not only alleging rape, but naming two Hindus of Kathua district, namely Sanji
Hmm.
Ram and Deepak Khajuria, who's a special police officer, while Sanji Ram was a recently retired Patwari. Now, I asked myself, how could he know before the post-mortem day that she had been raped, and who raped her? Were their names written on a
Hmm.
body? How did he know that? And if he already knew, why the hell then did he not inform the police when she disappeared? He lives hundreds of miles away from Rasana village, by the way. He's not even a resident of
Kathua.
Kathua district. He's a fake lawyer. He's a failed LLB graduate. He never passed his law degree, but he claims to be a lawyer, a human rights lawyer. But he has multiple criminal cases against him. Talib Hussain is his name, including multiple rape cases, um, that of his own sister-in-law,
Hmm.
who's filed criminal case against him, and a JNU student who wrote a very pathetic story of how he raped her
Unbelievable.
brutally, sodomized her. It was published in one of the publications. I've reproduced that whole story. His wife has accused him of beating, of neglecting, of starving, of taking away all her jewelry, of extorting money from her parents and demanding 10 lakhs and abandoning the wife because she produced two daughters, not
Wow.
sons. This, when he's from a poor family and they're from a much better off family, and they supported his education. So he's a man with a criminal background, including attempt to murder cases. He was rusticated from Jammu University because of his very um, a long track record of criminal activities on the campus, including attempt to murder. The point is that Mehbooba Mufti handpicks this man, who then keeps track of the family. I tracked his doings on the Facebook page of the girl's family as well as this man. And from January 14th onwards, he starts yelling that this girl has been sitting in his own village along with some Kashmiri separatists who otherwise should have no
Correct.
reason to get involved in a case in a faraway Jammu village. It's not that this was a well known family and it's not yet appeared in any paper. So he started ranting about it, blaming Sanghi men, Hindutvawadis, and all that. And then he builds that fury among his Facebook followers. And the day a dead body is found, he's ready to say, block the national highway, we have to protest, get together. Are. And then he starts at the same time naming these two men as the prime accused. And the police, first of all, at the very start, don't arrest these two men. They arrest a teenager called Shubham, who the court says can't be treated as a teenager for very convoluted logic. A schoolboy they arrest, who's a nephew of Sanjiram
Yeah.
Patwari, and the police torture him in custody. And then the entire case against these 8 persons is built around the so called confession in police custody of this teenager. Okay, the funniest part, Pujita, you laugh at it. The story starts with the charge sheet, which got me agitated enough to decide to investigate the case. The first claim by the police was that this teenager, schoolboy, had abducted the girl with her
Had a
willingness
what?
and with perfect ease and her willingness, he took her and locked her up in a cowshed right in the middle of his own
Acha.
village.
Acha.
Okay. And broken doors. I mean, it's not a cowshed with security, open gate, broken doors of those little hovels in which
Yes. Okay. Okay.
buffaloes or cows. Okay. No security, no protective
It's not hidden. It's not
boundaries.
hidden. Yeah.
No, no, it's in the middle
Hmm.
of the village. And every morning and evening, people come to milk their buffaloes or cows and they come to feed their cattle. Now, apparently, he kept her there for 6, 7 days,
Wow.
didn't touch her. That's the first narrative in the charge
Hmm.
sheet. And then he also, it's so funny, the charge sheet also says that he used to take her for nightly
Acha.
rendezvous and to relieve herself and even wash her bottoms after she peed or
Hmm.
shat, after she defecated. I mean, and then he brings her toffees and he brings food from home. But this is January, but it doesn't bring her a blanket or anything. Anybody would die of
Correct.
pneumonia if in a cattle shed without any protection. And she is tied up, believe you me or not, the police says, with the string of her own nara of her own
Acha.
salwar. And she doesn't try to run away when he
It takes it
takes
out,
her
and
from oh
and
yeah,
nobody sees them.
or
Nobody sees them.
nobody sees them. When he comes to feed, she doesn't
Hmm.
scream because the neighbors are right around, all around. Had she screamed even once, the voice would have
Correct.
reached. And there's no traffic in those villages, so there's no question of that. So that's the first part, first 3 pages. Then they say, no, 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 no. The real story is that Patwari Sanjiram had a grouse against Bakarwals, and therefore he got 7 accomplices, including his son and his nephew, and others, some who he may or may not even have known or met, that they were part of this sinister crime, sinister plot to abduct her in order to frighten the Bakarwals to move away. And
Oh, so
so they
this was, they
so
had a gripe against the whole community, so they picked this one girl. Is that what the narrative was? Unbelievable.
yeah. So they gave it a communal change. And by the way, as per law, criminal law, the police is not allowed to give motives and communal
Attribute,
motives.
yes.
They're only supposed to, yeah, they're not allowed to attribute
Yes.
communal motives. They are only supposed to document
Mm.
facts which point towards the reason or the facts of the crime. Then it is for the judge to adduce whether there were any motives or not. But motives are not the job of
Police.
the police. And this is all guesswork without even establishing that these seven, eight people ever met together. And one of the accused happened to be the one who was released, is the son of
Oh,
Sanjiram, Vishal, who was studying at that time in Meerut
it's quite
district,
away. Yeah.
Muzaffar. Yes, Muzaffarnagar. Now, he's appearing in his exam. There is evidence that there's train ticket on the day he left. Then when he reached there, that he appeared for exam. He was staying as a paying guest with a few other guys. There are pictures of their celebrating Lodi. They're celebrating other things. The landlady had also evidence that these boys were there throughout. And yet they said no. He bribed his college, he bribed
For the
everybody
sentence?
in order for himself to appear for his exam.
Unbelievable.
And he came because his cousin said, come, 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 we've captured a girl. You want to satisfy your lust?
This
Come,
is
come.
so, it
Yes.
is so heinous against me.
Then they don't say, then they don't say how he came. Did he come by train? Did he fly? Did he take a
God.
helicopter? In how much time could he have reached? And then once he comes there, he forgets all about the girl for about 2 days, and then suddenly, on a whim. Acha, then they talk about this temple, that second charge sheet, which was released, I think, on April 10, 2018. It's a revised charge sheet, which carries both. The first three pages carry that absurd theory about the sole performance of this teenager who kept her in a cowshed. Then the cowshed is abandoned. And then it's this temple, uh, which is actually a modest shrine that belongs to three villages, including Rasana hamlet. So there are three doors to it, and the key of each door is kept by an elder of one of the villages. It has windows that don't block the view because it has grills and it has wire mesh. So anybody passing by can see everything that's happening inside. I've sent you pictures. You should display them. There's no way that a girl can be hidden there because it doesn't have secret chambers. There's no
Right?
underground
No cellar or
basement.
anything.
There's not even there. It doesn't even have big sofa
Correct.
sets or cupboards. Nothing. So how could she have been kept hidden? And hidden during the period when from 10th to 17th, when a body is discovered, during this time, there is Makar Sankranti, which is a very holy, sacred festival of Hindus, especially in rural India. It's a must festival
People
to
would come to the
celebrate.
temple for,
Yes, yes. However modest the celebration, maybe khichdi ka prasad, but they do come with their offerings, and they also get prasad and there's kirtan. In addition to the daily lighting of the lamp and
correct,
rituals
correct.
that are carried out in this village temple twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. And people of three villages can come in any time. It's open to all. It's not only three people of three villages.
Anybody.
Anybody can
Yeah.
walk in when the temple is not
So,
locked.
Madhuji, by now in the
And
second chart sheet, have they abandoned the first theory of the cowshed, or they are continuing? I mean, how did they reconcile the two?
it's bizarre. They don't even say, but that was a lie. No, they don't say that was a
Hmm.
lie. We don't know how we fell for that. cock and bull story, but they then start a new narrative.
Unbelievable.
But that's how the police in India works, and J&K police is particularly notorious because it's been so politically manipulated that it's used to cock and bull stories at the behest of their political
Right.
bosses. Then that she was kept in this when there was Lodi and there was Makar Sankranti. Okay, two festivals, both celebrated. There is Kirtan, there is
Hmm.
Bhandara. I'm sure you know the
Yes,
meaning of
yes.
Bhandara, which is a
Meal,
community meal
everybody, yeah.
that is
Especially sadhus come and eat. Usually भंडारा में साधुस जो होते हैं ना वो आके खा खा के जाते हैं भंडारा में.
नहीं, सिर्फ साधु नहीं, सब
ओपन
विलेजेस
हाँ
जो
हाँ.
भी डेवोटीज हैं, और ये बाबा कालीवीर is a local, कुल देवता of the Dogra, and has much greater importance in the emotional and dharmic life of Dogra Hindus than any of the pan Indian gods or goddesses. Also, don't forget, you know, with Vaishno Devi shrine looming large over the imagination of Dogra Hindus, um, it's inconceivable that a girl would be abducted and raped and gang raped and in a temple.
Unbelievable.
These are things that ISIS does. These are things that Taliban does. These are things that those who are hooking up the fake narrative, their history is full of
They want to
such
map it
things.
on to us also, na Madhu ji. They want to say, "आप भी करते हो ऐसे चीजें." That is the whole point, I think, of this. I mean, this whole story is so inconceivable that I think that was the point of this whole project, to project that. Well, you Hindus are also capable of such heinousness. Is I think what they were trying to do.
Not Hindus are also, we are
Ah,
victims. Hindus are bosses.
correct.
Hello. If they say,
Also,
oh, you are not any better
uh,
than us, we may
still,
still have swallowed it. Oh, but they say, no, we are victims. We are Paksaf. You Hindus are fascists. And they immediately attribute it to Modi, RSS, Sanghis, Hindutvavadis. Immediately that narrative starts because on the very first day, when a body is taken for post mortem, soon after, by the way, the police allows them to do this, the post-mortem gets finished. Then, as you know, in the ambulance, the dead body is being carried supposedly back to the home of this family. Instead, they stop the ambulance on the national highway, NH 44, and block the national highway, putting her dead body in the middle of the road, shouting anti Modi, shouting pro Pakistan, anti India slogans. Now, what did it have to do with Modi? But they make it out as if Modi is personally
yes.
responsible and trying to decimate Hindus, and it is an attempt to commit genocidal violence against Muslims. The truth is the very opposite,
Absolutely.
which is that
Absolutely.
Mehbooba Mufti cracked down on several villages of Kathua district simultaneously and let loose a reign of terror. Hundreds of young men, innocent young men, including teenagers, were arrested arbitrarily, taken into police custody, tortured in order to coerce false confession.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.